Hello guys! In today's video, we will get to know how to advise people in English. We will get to know how to ask someone for a piece of advice, and we will give you some expressions that you can use to advise people. So, let's get started.
شكله هلا testing hello.
If you're asking someone for a piece of advice, you can say, "Can you please give me a piece of advice?" For example, "Can you please give me a piece of advice on how to protect myself from the coronavirus?" Or, "What should I do?" For example, "What should I do to protect myself from the coronavirus?" Or, "How to protect myself from the coronavirus." To give someone a piece of advice, you can say, "I think you should," or "I think you should not." For example, "I think you should always wash your hands with soap and water." You can also say, "You have to." You have to. For example, "You have to avoid traveling these days." Or, "Why don't you?" Why don't you? For example, "Why don't you stop sharing fake news about the virus? It is a good idea too." It's a good idea too. For example, "It's a good idea to keep away from crowded places." Maybe you should. For example, "Maybe you should try to read more about the virus." My advice is to. My advice is to. For example, "My advice is to see a doctor if you have a fever." What if you just? What if you just? For example, "What if you just put a face mask if you have a bad cold?" I suggest that. I suggest that. For example, "I suggest that you take vitamin C." You would better. You'd better. For example, "You'd better use hand sanitizers." One last note. The word advice does not come in the plural form. So I cannot say advices. I have to say some advice, or one piece of advice, two pieces of advice, and so on. In the comments below, tell us how to protect ourselves from the coronavirus.